implications of it. I was on a podcast this morning where I was being interviewed, and the guy I was talking to, me myself being divorced, and he was divorced. He was married for 20 years and divorced, and then unfortunately his new wife that he married got killed in a shooting in a parade. Yeah, so
that's so
very
sad.
very tough. But it was interesting because I was talking about this topic about how marriage is not, and he's very Catholic and very Christian, and and I was also talking about the dynamic that, like, what's kind of cool about us is that we're not really religious, but we have, like, someone would think that we're fundamentalist Christian, like, because we say the exact same things because there's truth in these things, right? And so it's like we can kind of appeal to maybe an audience that doesn't have to be religious, but these things are still true, right? But he was like, man, it's like you could just be preaching, like, and in the thing that we're talking about the sanctity of marriage was how horrible divorce is. And I think a lot of people don't understand, and he understood because I was relating to him my story about how, and you were there, that we watched my mom pass away from Parkinson's for seven days, or however long,
like 10 days.
Might have been and I told him that as hard as that was, that a divorce is 5 times worse than that, and he was like, yeah, he's like, it's the worst thing that you can possibly go through in life. Worse than death, worse than anything else. And people don't realize that. It doesn't matter if you don't like your spouse. When you join together, the separation of that will cause you a great amount of, it will disrupt your entire life. It will cause you a great amount.
I think it's if you take it seriously, right? Because I think it's the people who don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, like, they still deal with the part of, like, the annoyance of separating all the things, but there are people who don't feel that way. And I'm not saying that, like, one way or the other is right or wrong, but I think it's the people who aren't taking marriage seriously, who don't feel as deeply as you do, or the other people that you've talked about, because I feel like the people who feel the way that you do did take it seriously. And that's the thing, is that, like, that's what goes back into, you should be taking it seriously.
Right.
Because I feel like people aren't as fazed by divorce, not all of them,
right,
but these people who aren't taking it seriously to begin with.
Right.
So it's not that big of a deal. So then they just keep trying to do it, and they're not doing it the right way. Like, it should mean exactly what you just said. It should be a big deal. It should be avoided at all costs.
Well, here's a cautionary tale, okay, about that, because I get what you're saying. However, I've been coaching guys for over 10 years now, and I have worked with a lot of guys that have gone through divorces, and even some of my friends. And at the surface level, they're fine. But regardless of how they think that it's not gonna affect them, when we dig deep, some of them don't even deal with the things that they need to deal with. But it's still, like, the cautionary tale.
All take marriage seriously?
It doesn't even matter so much. I think that it is still, whether you take it seriously or not, is a serious thing, and it will have serious implications, especially if because remember, you're joining families, there's extended families, there's children potentially involved. There's a lot of things that...
Well, I guess I was going to ask, what makes it so serious then, especially with the people that aren't really taking it seriously?
Is because as even if you're not taking it as seriously as you should, you have the extended families that are joined together. You have the children, for sure. You have your job, you have your workplace, you have your friends, you have places you go to eat. Everything, like, your entire life will be completely torn from you.
So it's the change of it, the drastic change.
Yeah. So, and then it just, there's something about it that's undescribable that someone who hasn't gone through it won't really understand. But I'm telling people that the very last thing you want to do on this earth is get married. I mean, get divorced.
Rodrigo, can you cut that one out? You heard it here, folks. Don't get married.
Get married if you're going to get divorced, right? Like, that's the last thing that you want to do. So don't do it. It's just, it's just not something that you want to go through. And people take it lightly because they don't realize what they'll go through. But man, even one of my friends I was telling you about, I won't say his name, that lives in Idaho, and I mean, you heard me talking to him, and he doesn't even he wanted to get divorced. He still wants to be divorced, but he's still going through a lot because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do think it's more of like the change, which is hard, and anybody would think that that's hard for sure. What you said, the like drastic change of your life, especially for 20 years, you know, that's a really long time, changing drastically. So that would shock anybody.
But I'll tell you what.
But I guess my thing is like, I do feel like though the people that you've talked to do have taken it seriously. So it's like.
It depends. But I'll tell you this. This is what I'll tell you though. I would go through 20 divorces to marry you.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's true.